Greetings, fellow cultivators. Welcome to Audio Nova. Remember to like and subscribe to support the journey. Today, we're diving into the story of what's the point of cultivating immortality if you don't have money. Purple Cloud High School. Vientiane side. While we ordinary high school overachievers are still researching childcare loans, which small loan platform has lower interest rates, and the preferential activities for bank loan handling fees. The strongest high school student has already started raising funds to cultivate immortality, based on their reputation. Alas, compared to us, Xiong Yu's potential in the immortal path is already on a different level. I really envy the top student in the grade for being able to learn from him all the time. Thinking of this, Vientiane suddenly paused slightly. Wait, I remember the interest rate of the loan platform is about. Vientiane listed the interest rates of various lending platforms. He thought to himself, and Xiong Yu is borrowing money here and returning it at 1.3 times. Comparing the interest rates on both sides, Vientiane's eyes suddenly lit up. Wouldn't that mean I can borrow money from the bank and then lend it to Xiong Yu and make money while lying down? Soon he also thought of the only risk involved. Will Xiong Yu not pay back the money? Thinking of the other party's current status as the strongest high school student, famous in the first level of Kungshu, about to establish his foundation, and Vientiane's past understanding of Xiong Yu. I'm going to risk it. As long as I get through this tribulation, my immortal potential will undergo a transformation. Which university I go to in the future, and whether I can eventually establish my foundation, may depend on this wave. White Dragon High School. Song Hailong looked at the content on his phone, but he wasn't very interested. But at this moment, he saw Yu Xing'an walking up to him at some point. Hey, little Song, lend me some money, I'll pay you back 1.05 times. Song Hailong was slightly stunned, thinking of Xiong Yu's 1.3 times. He thought to himself, this guy wouldn't be. Yu Xing'an urged, You're not listening to me, the top student in the grade. Besides, it's not like I won't pay you back, don't be so stingy, okay? Lend me as much as you have, just a few tens of thousands will do. After receiving Song Hailong's transfer, Yu Xing'an smiled slightly and walked towards the next student. Yu Xing'an thought to himself, borrowing low and lending high like this, I can earn a difference in interest. As for why Yu Xing'an didn't go for a loan. Where can a loan compare to borrowing money? Loans must be repaid on time. Borrowing money between classmates, although the amount is less, is safer. Even if my investment fails this time, I can drag it on for a long time. Songyang High School. After completing the transfer, Wang Hai thought to himself, kid, hurry up and establish your foundation. After you successfully establish your foundation, I, Wang Hai, will be considered a gold medal teacher who has taught a foundation building student. This teaching career can be considered without regrets. On the other side of the training ground, Lei Zhan silently put away his phone, sighing in his heart, although I don't have much achievement in this life, and I haven't been able to pass the foundation establishment certificate in 10 years of university, at least. My student has established his foundation. Go, Xiong Yu. Take my share of potential. Let the people above take a good look, poor people can also establish their foundation. Inside Songyang High School, a student council cadre found Hidayo, and shouted, President. Did you see the message in the group? Xiong Yu and Bai Jinjin are borrowing money. Could it be a scam? Should we kick people and ban them from speaking? Hidayo, who had become a senior in the third year, sighed softly and said, I have already confirmed the matter, it is not a scam. Xiong Yu and Bai Jinjin really want to borrow money. The student council cadre cautiously said, then should we care? Hidayo was silent for a while, thinking with their relationship with President Wang of the Oasis Group, how could they be short of money? Is there something wrong on both sides? Hidayo remembered when he was in the first year of high school, he thought that a poor ghost like Xiong Yu could never catch up with him. But now, with the decline of the He family, and the decline of one wealthy family after another in Songyang City, Hidayo has new ideas in his heart. Poor people, rich people. In front of Wang Yin, what is the difference between me and Xiong Yu and Bai Jinjin? They are just poor ghosts from the first level. Looking at the junior in front of him, Hidayo said lightly, don't worry about it, let them go. After the junior left, Hidayo glanced at the messages in the group, and finally took the lead in transferring 10,000 yuan. Seeing that everyone is a poor ghost, this is all I can help you with. In the past 9 months, due to the publicity of the Oasis Group and the value of the foundation establishment qualification certificate itself, Xiong and Bai Zhenjin have long become the strongest high school students in the first level that everyone knows, and have become inspirational idols in the hearts of countless students. And this is even more vividly reflected in their hometown of Songyang City. Not to mention how proud the students of Songyang High School are. Even the students of Beilong High School will proudly stand up when they think of Xiong and Bai Zhenjin, often coming to visit and learn from each other. When Xiong and Bai Zhenjin came to Beilong to compete before, I watched every game, and I bought the kneeling ticket in the first row. The closest I got to them was a few meters away. And now, when the news of Xiong and Bai Zhenjin borrowing money spread more and more widely, it immediately attracted the attention of a large number of students. As expected of the strongest high school student, borrowing money is so generous. Nonsense. If you want to reach the peak of immortality in Kungshu, you have to be good at borrowing money. If Xiong and Bai Zhenjin are not good at borrowing money, how could they become the strongest high school students? Is the news real? Could it be a scam? At Group Owner. Oasis Building. Wang Yin quickly received the news that Xiong was borrowing money everywhere. This poor ghost. Wang Yin's gaze sharpened. Because I froze your accounts, you're trying to borrow money to establish your foundation? Don't you even think about it. If it weren't for the company's publicity, how could you possibly be so famous, and where would so many people borrow you money from? Thinking of Xiong and Bai Zhenjin, using the prestige and reputation built with the company's help to borrow money, Wang Yin felt a strong sense of discomfort. In his opinion, this was digging the company's foundation. Ungrateful bastards. Immediately freeze his new accounts. Block their social media accounts. Did you hear me? The newest novel is first published at 69 Shu 8. The voice of the true God rang in his ears. We are already trying, but the other party's account permissions are not low, and there is a true God protecting him behind the scenes. Wang Yin frowned and said, you can't handle it either. The other party said, it seems to be the batch of true gods who have been secretly investigating and hindering us recently. Hearing this, a flash of killing intent flashed in Wang Yin's eyes. Xiong, Bai Zhenjin, I've been so good to them, pouring so much money into them, and they're actually colluding with outsiders to betray the company? Ungrateful dogs. He dialed Kaihe's phone and urged, I've already taken care of the inspection team for you, and no one will stop you anymore. Hurry up and find them for me, and the other party may order a heavenly spiritual route. Remember to pay attention to the courier companies. In just over 3 hours, accompanied by waves of transfers, the amount in Xiong's account continued to grow. 49.58 million. 52.7 million. 56.1 million. As Xiong watched the numbers in his account continue to grow, it was as if he saw countless hands reaching out from afar, transferring their immortal potential into his body. Xiong could feel that under the impetus of the crowd, he was gradually moving towards the foundation establishment stage. At this moment, Fuji looked at the still growing amount, and reminded, we'll soon be able to buy the heavenly spiritual route. But Wang Yin definitely knows about you borrowing money. He will guess that you want to borrow money to establish your foundation, and may try to intercept the heavenly spiritual route's delivery. Also, when Xiong establishes his foundation, he won't be able to move for at least 30 to 60 minutes. So someone needs to cover the heavenly spiritual route, and cover you while you establish your foundation. Bai Zhenjin said from the side, I'll do it. Asian. Xiong said, they're here to catch you. Bai Zhenjin smiled and said, so, that's our advantage. She pointed to her head, and explained, I'm not making an impulsive decision, on a whim. I've thought it over carefully. Wang Yin can't tolerate the failure of a promised company transaction. So their main goal is to catch me. Once I appear, I will definitely attract most of their forces. Secondly, in order to complete the transaction, they won't dare to kill me easily, but I dare to fight them desperately, which is another advantage. Also, they know we want to buy the heavenly spiritual route, which can also be turned into our advantage. In short, now it's the best strategy for me to cover you. Bai Zhenjin smiled and said, Yuzi, what you need to do next is to establish your foundation properly. Only if you successfully establish your foundation can we possibly win this game, and our efforts over the past 2 years of high school won't be in vain. Promise me, Yuzi. The next moment, Bai Zhenjin suddenly hugged Xiong tightly. You must successfully establish your foundation. Feeling Bai Zhenjin's determination, feeling the surging heartbeat of the other party's chest. Xiong Yu also hugged the other party in his arms, and said word by word, Asian, you must hold on until I establish my foundation. Whoosh. The northern suburbs of Songyang City. A courier brought up a series of after images, speeding towards the delivery location. According to the agreed delivery location, he came to an abandoned factory and walked to the deepest part of the factory. At the same time, Kahi's command came from the courier's headset. Continue forward. Turn right. This is the room, the tracking signal is coming from inside, knock on the door first. Don't worry, we have surrounded the factory and can rush in to support you at any time. The courier took a deep breath, knocked on the door, and said the heavenly spiritual route has arrived, is anyone inside? After knocking on the door several times, there was no response. Instead, the door slowly opened with a creak as the courier knocked. The courier was slightly stunned, his gaze swept over it, only to see that the room was empty, with only a human skin falling on the ground. The courier quickly reported through the headset Xiong Yu took off the human skin. They're not here. The human skin that Wang Yan gave to Xiong Yu had a tracking function. Since tracking the two of them today, the Oasis group has activated this function. However, due to the interference of the true God, they have always been unable to perfectly track the other party. Outside the factory, Kahi heard the courier's response and thought to himself, could it be that they deliberately led us here? He guessed that we would intercept the delivery. At this moment, an astonishing killing intent enveloped him, accompanied by a crackling sound. The number of charges in the air increased crazily, causing Kahi's skin to tingle. Not good. Kahi leapt to the side violently. At the same time, a sword light emerged from the shadows, like a thunderbolt, slashing towards the hastily dodging Kahi. Looking at the figure in the lightning, Kahi's eyes were about to split by Zhenjin. This crazy woman. She didn't escape. But instead ambushed me. After deciding to attack, Bai Zhenjin didn't plan to let go of any advantage. The other side knows we want to buy a heaven spirit route, so they'll be watching the delivery, which means the delivery address is where the battlefield is. In other words, the battlefield is chosen by me, and I can ambush them in advance. Having ambushed outside the factory for a long time, Bai Zhenjin decided to make Kahi her first target after discovering his appearance. Wang Yin's lackey, he must be leading the team to capture people this time. Killing him first will throw them into chaos. Using the Cold Soul Ice Hard Arts mental cultivation method to enhance her physical vitality in this desperate situation, making the reaction of her muscles and nerves faster. Using the True Spirit route to assist in gathering the physical strength of her entire body, unleashing the strongest blow. Using the electric field set up in advance by the thunderous skywalking steps to accelerate her speed. Using the Thunder God's Thunderbolt to burst out all her thunderous mana in one breath, unleashing this rapid sword strike. Since the end of the Foundation Establishment exam, although Bai Zhenjin's hard strength hasn't improved much, the cultivation and deduction of her techniques and the repeated pondering of her swordsmanship have gradually given her a deeper understanding of her own martial path and the sword strike that surpassed sound on the Foundation Establishment exam arena. At this moment, she suddenly erupted, unleashing a shocking sword strike that instantly pierced through Kahi's chest, creating a large hole. Boom. The sword strike, like a thunderous heavenly sword, instantly attracted the attention of all the other experts. Facing the gazes of shock, astonishment, anger, or fear, Bai Zhenjin shouted, the patrol team is on duty, who dares to seek death? They will end up like this person. Kicking the half-dead Kahi away, Bai Zhenjin continued, just a reminder, it's not illegal for me to kill you now. If you dare to attack me, be careful of losing your entire fortune. While saying these words, Bai Zhenjin had already activated all the remaining electric field of the thunderous skywalking steps, and her whole person retreated violently. At the same time, accompanied by the breathing within her body, the true spirit root had already begun to frantically absorb spiritual energy, constantly restoring her mana. After these 9 months of cultivation, Bai Zhenjin, who was now performing the Thunder God's Thunderbolt mana eruption again, was already able to leave a trace of mana running, coupled with the true spirit root's spiritual energy breathing, so that she would not have a gap where her mana was completely exhausted. Especially with the help of the true spirit root, every moment she breathed, she could recover more mana for battle. And under Bai Zhenjin's sword strike and loud shouts, the other key refining experts present seemed to be stunned for a moment, watching Bai Zhenjin retreat violently. Just then, a burst of divine power fell from the sky, pouring into Kai's body. Kai's originally dying body began to recover at a speed visible to the naked eye. Someone exclaimed, "It's the Ministry of Health surgery talisman." At the same time, everyone's phones rung, and then they all automatically answered, with Wang Yin's voice coming from them. "I will remotely cast spells, so you don't have to worry about dying. As for losing your entire fortune, I will pay double the money for whatever losses you have in this battle. As for the rewards afterward, I will never disappoint my subordinates." Hearing Wang Yin's words, everyone immediately cheered up. After all, they remembered President Wang's generosity and boldness in their hearts. Now, after being said a few words by the other party, they were all full of fighting spirit. Ye Mantian took the lead and chased after Bai Zhenzhen's direction. "Catch her!" Bai Zhenzhen's heart sank when she saw this scene. Especially when she saw Kai, whom she had finally seized the opportunity to heavily injure at the cost of exhausting her mana, about to recover in the blink of an eye. She couldn't help but curse in her heart, "Damn rich people. This is going to be difficult." However, she secretly rejoiced in her heart that she still had the identity of a patrol team member as a cover, and Dong Bingding had also said that the righteous gods on both sides would not directly participate. Otherwise, the other party's talisman would probably be used directly on her. Humph. Looking at the crowd chasing after her like mad dogs, Bai Zhenzhen turned around and sped away, with a string of electric light. "Then come on. Let's see how many times you can be killed by me." While the many experts of the Oasis group were being attracted by Bai Zhenzhen, Zhang Yu slowly walked out of a commercial building. Looking at the box in his arms, he gently breathed a sigh of relief. Inside this box was the heaven spirit root that he had just bought in the commercial building. As for the delivery used to attract the opponent, it was just a cash-on-delivery facade, used to attract the other party. Arriving at the depths of the prepared sewer, Zhang Yu opened the box, knowing that he could no longer move until he completed the foundation establishment. He secretly said in his heart, "Ajin, hold on. I'll come find you when I finish foundation establishment." Zhang Yu swallowed the heaven spirit root in one gulp, and began the process of fusing the spirit root with his body, impacting the foundation establishment stage. In the sound of rushing through the air, more than a dozen figures chased each other in the alley, occasionally bursting out a burst of collision. As a battlefield specially selected by Bai Zhenzhen, this abandoned factory area has a complex terrain, with many alleys, underground passages, and unfinished buildings. In the process of chasing Bai Zhenzhen, some of the dozen or so pursuers were fast, some were slow, and coupled with the complexity of the terrain, they quickly distanced themselves from each other. At this moment, Ye Mantian, who was the fastest and chasing the closest, was only a dozen meters away from Bai Zhenzhen. And the farthest pursuer was thrown more than 100 meters away. So, when Bai Zhenzhen suddenly stopped, turned around, and drew her sword, the opponent she had to face at that moment was only Ye Mantian, who was closest to her. Ye Mantian also instantly understood at this moment, although Bai Zhenzhen was still being pursued by more than a dozen experts, he was the only one who could help Ye Mantian. Boom. With a roar, Ye Mantian's muscles suddenly swelled, and his fist slammed out with all his might like battering rams. Stay. He believed that as long as he could entangle Bai Zhenzhen for a few breaths, his teammates would catch up quickly. The newest novels are first published on 6/9 Shubier. With his strength, even if he couldn't win, could he not hold on for a few breaths? However, to Ye Mantian's shock, Bai Zhenzhen did not parry, did not defend, did not dodge, but directly raised her head and crashed into his pair of iron palms. Ye Mantian knew that Bai Zhenzhen was definitely not a master of external martial arts, and she had not practiced any iron head skills. This palm might shatter her head. Not good. Ye Mantian clearly remembered Wang Yin and Kai he repeatedly instructing that Bai Zhenzhen must not be killed. Wang Yin, even if you are seriously injured, you must never kill Bai Zhenzhen. The price difference between a dead person and a living person, fresh or frozen, is worlds apart. Ye Mantian roared wildly, suddenly retracting his palms and withdrawing his strength. Having just erupted with all his strength, he now had to suddenly withdraw his strength, feeling like he was competing with himself. Not only were the muscles in his body about to twist, but the magic power in his body was also conflicting, back and forth. But Bai Zhenzhen seemed to have expected this, her fingertips bringing up a burst of lightning sword light, already leaping past Ye Mantian's stiff body. With a bang, Ye Munchen's body flashed with blood, his hands, feet, eyes, dantian all had been swept by the sword light. Then, with a bang, Ye Mantian fell to the ground, able only to watch by Zhen's departing figure. Ye Mantian thought to himself, this woman is really a madman. Isn't she worried that I didn't withdraw my strength just now? She's simply gambling with her life. Bai Zhen glanced at the power of the surgery talisman, falling on Ye Munchen's body, watching him begin to be healed, and thought to herself, as expected, since there is this kind of remote treatment method, not killing is the best result. Although I was somewhat confident just now that I could kill this person. But once I make a killing move, under the threat of life, even if there is Wang Yin's suppression, he may not continue to show mercy to me at a critical moment. Looking at Kai-he, who had made a big detour and was blocking her path, Bai Zhen felt her own magic power, situation, and turned to the other side, with a flash of her figure. In this way, relying on the complex terrain to fight and retreat, occasionally leaving behind an electric field to suddenly accelerate, sometimes taking the initiative to risk her life to force a breakthrough, and sometimes accumulating sword techniques to unleash the 15th sword of the myriad swords without an art, breaking the sound barrier. Bai Zhen rushed left and right, stalling for more than 40 minutes. But the encirclement of the crowd was also tightening, and the space left for her to maneuver was getting smaller and smaller. Just as they were about to capture Bai Zhen, they saw her cut open a manhole cover of a sewer with her sword, and her whole person leapt in. Stamina, magic power, and maneuvering space are all almost at their limit. Bai Zhen thought to herself, according to the escape route I left behind, I'll retreat for a while first. Under the angry gaze of Kai-he, Ye Mantian, and others, a figure suddenly channel emerged from the sewer. The person who came was Xiong of the Zhu family. Disguised, he even hid the title of Purple Gold Merit Lord. With a low shout, boundless cold air enveloped Bai Zhen. Feeling the astonishing chill that seemed to freeze her blood, Bai Zhen looked at the other party in disbelief. Who is this guy? When did he come? Xiong had already begun to act when he realized that the Oasis group was searching for Zhang, Yu, and Bai Zhen. On the one hand, he wanted to see if he could take the opportunity to catch them. On the other hand, with the Zhu family constantly declining, he wanted to take the opportunity to please Wang Yin and find a way out for himself. So he had been collecting information, tracking the actions of Kai-he and others, and after discovering that a conflict had broken out between the two sides, he silently looked for opportunities and finally waited for this moment. Along with the full eruption of the Frost Heaven freezing key field, Xiong slammed out a palm. With a loud bang, Bai Zhen hastily met the palm, and her body temperature dropped rapidly, with clumps of frost instantly forming on her arms and face. With a bang, Bai Zhen crashed into the wall, vomiting a large mouthful of ice, blood, that emitted bursts of cold air. Just as she was about to retreat violently, Xiong's palm had already lightly rested on her shoulder. With streams of cold air pouring into her body, Bai Zhen had already been completely suppressed in place by Xiong. Kai-he and others had already surrounded them, glanced at the disguised Xiong, and Bai Zhen, who was being suppressed by Xiong, and frowned, saying, "Who are you?" Xiong nodded slightly, and said politely, "Just a nobody who wants to serve President Wang." Kai-he sneered, "Hand Bai Zhen over to us. I'll take you to see President Wang in a while." Xiong was overjoyed, and just as he was about to hand Bai Zhen over to the other party, a burst of white mist suddenly rose around them. The original factory, alley, and buildings were all swallowed by the white mist in an instant, and the entire factory area seemed to be pulled into another world by the white mist. At the same time, Zhang Yu's cold voice slowly came from the thick fog. "Clown, let go of your dog claws." Just as Bai Zhen and many key refining experts were fiercely fighting, Zhang Yu also planted the heaven spirit root he obtained into his dantian, initiating the fusion of the spirit root with his physical body. The heaven spirit root that Zhang Yu chose for foundation establishment this time was the key C spirit root. Fuji said, "Different spirit routes have vastly different effects after foundation establishment. Using a combat-oriented spirit route for foundation establishment will result in a more rapid increase in combat power after foundation establishment, but in the long run, it is not as promising as a cultivation-oriented spirit route. But you need to go into battle after completing foundation establishment, so some purely cultivation-oriented spirit routes are not very suitable for your current situation. After thinking it over, this key C spirit route is the most suitable for you." Xiong Yu agreed with Fuji's suggestion. The Qi Sea spirit root, nicknamed the wall-penetrating king, has the greatest advantage of having a large coverage area, and being able to penetrate various walls, buildings, and rocks, allowing for large-scale spirit energy collection. It can both enhance the efficiency of his future mana cultivation and improve his mana recovery affecting battle. Using the Qi Sea spirit root for foundation establishment can be said to combine the potential for cultivation and the improvement of combat power. As the Qi Sea spirit root was introduced into Xiong Yu's dantian, the spirit root seemed to take root and sprout, extending crystal-like roots that plunged into the surrounding mana. In an instant, the surrounding spirit energy swarmed in, entering his dantian along with Xiong Yu's breathing. Next, as Xiong Yu continuously poured mana into the Qi Sea spirit root, the spirit root seemed to be stimulated in some way, continuing to take root and sprout, spreading towards the entire dantian. When Xiong Yu injected 60 units of mana into the spirit root underwent a qualitative change, with crystal-like tendrils spreading and growing along the meridians. The entire Qi Sea spirit root began to integrate with the meridians throughout Xiong Yu's body, becoming a part of Xiong Yu's body and a new organ, with Xiong Yu's dantian as its source. Boom! As the spirit root gradually fused, more and more spirit energy swarmed in, and Xiong Yu could feel that the range of his spirit energy collection was also growing larger and larger. From the initial 50 meters, it gradually expanded to 60 meters, 80 meters, 100 meters. At this moment, Xiong Yu felt as if he had become a huge funnel between heaven and earth, frantically devouring the spirit energy within 100 meters. After becoming a part of my body, is this the true power of the Qi Sea spirit root? At the same time, as the Qi Sea spirit root completely took root and sprouted in the dantian, and the tendrils of the spirit root merged with the meridians throughout his body, Xiong Yu felt that with every breath he took, his pores were absorbing the spirit energy between heaven and earth. The speed at which spirit energy and mana circulated in the meridians also soared several times. If the original circulation of mana in the meridians was like a car driving on a mountain path, then, from this moment on, when Xiong Yu circulated mana in the meridians again, it was like a car driving on a highway. The efficiency of mana absorption, circulation speed, mobilization scale, and output scale all soared at this moment. With this frantic increase in mana efficiency, Xiong Yu's immortal cultivation also underwent a qualitative change. A trace of understanding flashed in Xiong Yu's mind. Mana is like the power source of immortality. As the efficiency of this power source increases dramatically, the operation of all my techniques and the effects they bring will be improved. It's like putting an engine on an original bicycle. Along with the influx of spirit energy, the mana that Xiong Yu had just begun to consume due to the fusion of the spirit route also began to recover rapidly. Even after the mana recovered to 100 units, the refinement of mana still did not stop. Boom! In an instant, the original limit was broken, and Xiong Yu's mana directly broke through to 100.1, and then continued to increase wildly. Obviously, with the fusion of the spirit root, Xiong Yu's mana limit was also broken. This frantic increase in mana only slowed down after 180, eventually stopping at 198.4. After the surge of mana beyond the limit in his body, Xiong Yu's Tao heart also began to stir under the influence of mana. So Xiong Yu visualized the remnant ox in his mind and began to circulate the mental cultivation method. Not the remnant ox selfless heart sutra of the key refining stage, but the remnant ox selfless heart sutra of the foundation establishment stage, authorized by Deng Bingding this time. Roar! The remnant ox in his mind seemed to let out a roar to the sky, and the surrounding mud rolled and surged, as if turning into black hands to drag it into the depths of the mud. But the remnant ox's figure was a circle larger, with various scars such as knife wounds, sword wounds, and burns on its body, but it was filled with a sense of sanctity, emitting a faint white light. The white remnant ox appeared more and more high spirits, and unyielding in the rolling black mud. Tao Heart Level 10 Level 11. After the successive breakthroughs in mana and Tao Heart, Xiong Yu had already felt the restlessness of his physical body. His muscles twisted all over his body, and the surging mana was transformed into longevity mana, and he began to cultivate the boundless spring and autumn meditation of the foundation establishment stage. The body was like land that had been dry for a long time, frantically absorbing the nourishment of longevity mana, and then also broke the limit, raising the physical strength to level 10.01. Tao Heart Level 11. Mana 198.4. Physical strength level 10.01. Feeling the surging power in his body, Xiong Yu understood at this moment that he had truly entered the foundation establishment stage. And from this moment on, his Tao heart, mana, and physical body could continue to improve. Among them, the upper limit of Tao heart level reached 20, the upper limit of mana was 1000, and the upper limit of physical strength was 20. But Xiong Yu did not continue to cultivate Tao heart, mana, or physical strength, because it would be difficult to make great improvements in these in a short period of time. And at this moment, he urgently needed to improve his combat power, so the best way was. Xiong Yu looked at the 9 heavens cloud soaring force in his phone. This was the last foundation establishment stage technique that Den Bingding gave him, besides the remnant ox selfless heart, sutra, and the boundless spring, and autumn meditation, and it was also the so-called military grade technique. Combat technique 9 heavens cloud soaring force level 0. After switching Xiong Yu's feather riding to the 9 heavens Ezra's sky force, he began to cultivate this technique, which could only be practiced during the foundation establishment stage. 9 heavens Azure Sky Force. The foundation establishment stage technique created by the creator of the limitless cloud hand. Like the limitless cloud hand, it doesn't emphasize moves. It only has 3 moves back and forth, which makes it convenient for me to practice. As Xiong Yu completed the first cycle of the 9 heavens Azure Sky Force, countless images flashed through his mind, and his understanding of this technique became thorough. 9 heavens Azure Sky Force level 1. This technique and the limitless cloud hand are completely derived from the same source. It's simply a technique choice tailored for me. Did Deng Bingding do this on purpose? When Xiong Yu cultivated the 9 heavens Azure Sky Force to level 5, he could feel that the power of this military-grade technique had surpassed any of his practical martial arts. However, Xiong Yu no longer had the mind to continue practicing. After all, the longer he practiced, the greater the danger to Bai Zhenjin. The newest novels are first published on 69shu.com. Therefore, Xiong Yu moved swiftly, rushing towards the battlefield where Bai Zhenjin was. Just as Xiong Yu arrived at the battlefield, he saw the scene of Bai Zhenjin being captured by Zhu Yang. Although he didn't recognize Zhu Yang after the change in appearance and form, it didn't stop the intense killing intent from surging in Xiong Yu's heart. 198.4 units of mana roared wildly within his body, transforming into streams of milky white formless cloud force, gushing out wildly. Without using the newly cultivated 9 heavens Azure Sky Force, after all, this was his current hidden trump card, Xiong Yu only used the limitless cloud hand at this moment. When Xiong Yu used the limitless cloud hand in the past, his energy could only cover a few meters. But at this moment, after merging with the Key C spiritual root and entering the foundation establishment realm, Xiong Yu's mana limit, mana dispatch efficiency, and output efficiency were all far beyond the limits of Ki refining. In an instant, the formless cloud force had already enveloped the battlefield within dozens of meters, like a rising fog. Zhu Yang was slightly stunned by the sound coming from the fog. The next moment, he saw the other party coming on the sea of clouds. At the same time, the surrounding formless cloud force had unknowingly attacked, like underwater currents, entangling Zhu Yang's hands and feet, sealing his movements. Boom. Xiong Yu gently struck Zhu Yang with a palm. Zhu Yang subconsciously took the palm, using the Zhu family's Frost Heaven freezing key field. Streams of palm force carrying resentment and corpse coldness blasted towards Xiong Yu. The moment the two palms collided, accompanied by a light bang, Zhu Yang's expression suddenly changed drastically. He only felt that the other party's palm seemed unremarkable, but only when it actually made contact did he feel how fierce the formless cloud force contained within was. If the freezing energy he blasted out was a gurgling stream, then the energy blasted out by the other party was like a surging Yangtze river. The formless cloud force tore through the freezing energy like a hot knife through butter, pouring into Zhu Yang's body, bursting his meridians, and shattering his bones. In the midst of a series of explosions, Zhu Yang's right arm shattered, exploding into a cloud of blood mist. After being severely injured by a palm, Zhu Yang fell to the ground, his heart trembling wildly. Foundation establishment. This is the level of mana output that can only be achieved in the foundation establishment realm. Xiong Yu, however, treated him like air, silently walking to Bai Zhenjin's side and embracing her. Looking at Bai Zhenjin's pale face and the injuries on her body, Xiong Yu said, "I'm sorry, I'm late." Bai Zhenjin smiled slightly and said, "Isn't this just the right time?" From Zhang Yu entering the arena, to severely injuring Xiong with one move, and picking up Bai Zhenjin, the whole process only took a few seconds. In these few seconds, the many key refining experts around him did not stop moving. They had already rushed into the thick fog, attacking in the direction where Bai Zhenjin was in their memory. Faced with the siege of more than a dozen peak key refining experts, Zhang Yu held Bai Zhenjin in one arm, and slightly exerted force with the other palm, then blasted out a palm through the air. If Zhang Yu had only used a normal attack on Zhu Yang, just now, in order to be quick and save Bai Zhenjin first. Then at this moment, Zhang Yu had also superimposed the force application techniques of the back dragon overturning mountain hand and the dragon elephant crushing mountain palm into one palm. Although these two are only key refining stage martial arts at this moment, under the blessing of Zhang Yu's foundation establishment, Mono, and Martial Tao Holy Embryo, they burst out with unprecedentedly powerful palm force. Everyone only felt a crackling sound in the air first, and then it seemed as if a dragon elephant was roaring. Roar! Yermantian only felt that a giant dragon was roaring and crashing towards him, in this sea of clouds. He burst out with all his strength, and raised both palms, but he was still instantly defeated. With a bang, he flew out and crashed into a small building. Yermantian barely stood up, but suddenly spat out a large mouthful of blood, only feeling that his internal organs were torn apart, and his whole body was broken and fractured. With a bang, he knelt on the ground. When he looked up, he saw that the thick fog that had just been so intense had already dissipated with the gale caused by the explosion, revealing a scene that looked like it had experienced a major explosion. And the many experts who had been fighting bravely, just now, were no longer standing. Some crashed into the broken walls, only revealing part of their bodies. Some fell to the ground covered in blood, having lost consciousness. Others only had broken limbs, and no longer had complete corpses. And Yermantian looked at Zhang Yu standing, in the center of the battlefield, holding Bai Zhenjin in one arm, and said bitterly in his heart foundation establishment. At the same time, streams of divine power descended from the sky. Wang Yin's remotely activated surgical talisman had already begun to treat Cha, Yermantian, and others. But even feeling the injuries on their bodies recovering quickly, Cha, Yermantian, and all the experts present felt a chill in their hearts, and dared not move at all, let alone reveal any fighting spirit or hostility. Because they read the same message from Zhang Yu's cold eyes. Whoever moves, dies. Listening to Audionova. Nobody wanted to die, so nobody dared to move. Scanning the crowd that didn't dare to move a muscle, Zhang Yu whispered to Bai Zhenjin, "Some of Deng Bingding's reinforcements have arrived. Go and join them first, leave this place to me." According to Deng Bingding, the reinforcements would take 6 hours to become an effective fighting force, meaning support would arrive continuously within those 6 hours. And now, it was clear that some useful people for Zhang Yu, and Bai Zhenjin, had already arrived. Bai Zhenjin nodded at him, then be careful. Bai Zhenjin wasn't one to stand on ceremony, and directly jumped into the sewer that was originally intended for escape. The crowd watched as Bai Zhenjin disappeared, but none of them dared to make a move. After Zhang Yu let Bai Zhenjin leave first, watching her disappear into the sewer, he felt a slight relief in his heart. The doctor arranged by Deng Bingding should be able to treat Ajin, right? Then Zhang Yu turned around, and coldly looked at everyone present. Fuji reminded him, Bai Zhenjin is temporarily safe, so there are no more concerns now. Kill everyone here. If we let them leave, they will definitely continue tracking Bai Zhenjin. Zhang Yu knew that Fuji was right. On this battlefield of life and death, there was no room for mercy. So, in the next moment, the boundless cloud key surged out, and the entire scene was once again filled with a dense fog. Zhang Yu's voice came from the mist. Obstructing the patrol team's law enforcement, attacking the patrol team's contractors, knowing the law, and breaking the law, is doubly punished. Now it's legal killing time. It's your turn to run. Almost the instant they heard these words, the fighting spirit of everyone present was completely extinguished. They all retreated violently, wanting to escape in all directions, at their fastest speed. But this kind of scattering and fleeing, leaving their backs to Zhang Yu, was the best situation for Zhang Yu, allowing him to complete the next task more calmly and efficiently. Zhu Yang was the closest to Zhang Yu, and also the one who ran the fastest after hearing Zhang Yu's words. He stomped his feet, and his whole body brought up a series of after images, flying out like a toad. But just as he leapt a few meters away, he felt a terrifying suction force coming from the dense fog. It was the boundless cloud key bringing up various forces, either entangling, oscillating, or deflecting, like underwater whirlpools, pulling him back. At the same time, an incomparably tall black shadow, with the sound of a dragon elephant roar, emerged from the fog behind Xiong. At this moment, Xiong felt like a small fish swimming in the seabed, being sucked into the abyss by the giant beast's gaping maw, with no resistance. Looking at the black shadow getting closer and closer in the thick fog, Xiong exclaimed, "Wait. I..." Bang. The surging palm force bombarded him, as if to compress the entire sky of clouds and atmosphere into substance, also forcing back the words Xiong was about to say into his throat. Faced with this life or death crisis, a trace of despair flashed in Xiong's eyes, and he roared in his heart, already using all his strength to make a final resistance, a palm bringing up surging freezing air, blasting towards the black shadow in the cloud. But when Xiong unleashed this palm, he only felt as if he had hit a massive air. Immediately afterwards, under the operation of Zhang Yu's undying imprint technique, the freezing air surged back into Xiong's body, instantly freezing him stiff. Then, the boundless cloud key went straight in, accompanied by a series of bangs, crushing his entire body into minced meat. First one. Zhang Yu waved his hand, sweeping away the blood mist in front of him, and then flashed again, already chasing after another expert. The cloud sea formed by the boundless cloud key surged back and forth under his feet, making him feel like a fish in water, his movements incomparably swift in this cloud sea. On the contrary, Kahi, Yeomantian, and others only felt that the dense fog was alive, not only entangling them from all directions, hindering them, but even absorbing their attacks, reflecting their fist strength and palm force. Whoosh! Amidst the rolling clouds, Zhang Yu had already arrived in front of another key, refining expert. The other party's face was full of fear, and with a roar, he hugged towards him, displaying a set of grappling techniques. A sneer appeared on the corner of Zhang Yu's mouth, and with a collision with the other party's palm, he twisted the other party's center of gravity, and slammed the other party on the ground, smashing out a large pit with a bang. Looking at the other party who was slowly spitting out blood foam, his internal organs having been completely shattered, Fuji reminded him, the other party can remotely cast surgery talismans, remember to finish him off. Jiang Yu kicked out, and shattered the other party's brain into a puddle of paste, even a surgery talisman couldn't save him. Second one. Then his figure flashed again, already killing towards another person. Ye Mantian struggled, and sneaked through the dense fog, listening to the loud noises, screams, and Zhang Yu's counting sounds coming from the depths of the clouds, from time to time. Third one. Ah! A shrill scream sounded, as if the body was being torn apart by some giant beast. Boom! Fourth one. I'll fight you. Everyone, don't run, you can't escape. Bang! I'll pay. I'll pay to buy my life. Fifth one. Listening to the sound like a death countdown, even Yeomantian, the proud son of heaven from the immortal capital, was constantly sweating on his forehead at this moment. He felt like a small fish swimming upstream in a turbulent river, trying to escape from the hunt of an underwater monster. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. How could this be? Zhang Yu has already established his foundation, why hasn't President Wan sent reinforcements yet? In his extremely fearful gaze, a black shadow gradually emerged from the fog. 6-1. Under extreme fear, Yeomantian also burst out with all his strength, at this moment. He inflated like a balloon, roaring like an elephant. A punch, carrying violent gale force winds, and accompanied by the crackling of exploding air, slammed towards Zhang Yu. Faced with Ye Mantian's desperate, all-out attack, Zhang Yu simply reached out and grabbed him. The surging gale force wind swirled, and crushed the opponent's fist. Immediately afterward, he slammed a palm towards the opponent's head. Ye Mantian's other arm tried to block, but it was useless. Zhang Yu's palm force first shattered his arm, then slammed heavily into his head. Bang! Ye Mantian's figure flew backward violently, finally flying out of the misty clouds. But the bones in his head were completely shattered, and red and white matter flew everywhere. After killing Ye Mantian, Zhang Yu didn't stop. He roamed back and forth in the clouds, and within a few short seconds, 4 more corpses crashed to the ground, all with shattered skulls and brains turned to mush, dead beyond any chance of recovery. Zhang Yu chased after another key refining expert. But he saw the opponent roar madly under the desperation of death, shouting, I can also establish my foundation. If you want me to die, then I'll fight you. In an instant, a massive amount of spiritual energy surged towards the opponent. A peak key refining expert was actually planning to break through and establish his foundation on the spot. At this moment, Deng Ding in the Divine Power Network snorted coldly, "Dare to break through realms during battle? What audacity!" Another deity in the Divine Power Network also shouted, "Unauthorized breakthrough. Execute him immediately." In the blink of an eye, the two deities who were originally fighting in the Divine Power Network stopped simultaneously. Divine power flashed in the sky, transforming into a bucket-thick purple lightning bolt that struck down, turning the key refining expert, who was breaking through, into ashes. After doing all this, the deities resumed their conflict in the Divine Power Network, checking and balancing each other. Xiong Yu looked at the location where the lightning disappeared with lingering fear, and continued to chase and kill others. From the moment Xiong Yu began his pursuit to when everyone fled in all directions, suffering heavy casualties, and the divine lightning fell, it seemed like many things had happened, but in reality, it was only a little over 20 seconds. But at this moment, a divine wind tornado swept through the heavens and earth, actually blowing away the misty clouds. Xiong Yu raised his head, and looked at the noble figure in the sky. He saw 8 layers of divine light surrounding the back of the opponent's head. 2 giant dragons formed from violent winds were prostrate beneath his left and right feet. Thousands of bloody shadows were wrapped around his body, like the emperor of this world. His indifferent gaze swept across the entire scene, finally landing on Xiong Yu. Xiong Yu looked at the opponent with a solemn gaze, thinking to himself, "Wang Yin. He actually came directly? Did he sense that I established my foundation? And doesn't plan to give me any chance, wanting to suppress me directly?" Meanwhile, Bai Zhenzhen advanced in the sewer, while opening her phone to look at the message sent by Deng Ding, following his instructions to arrive at a remote location. A middle-aged man with a beard, carrying a large bag, looked at her and said, "You are Bai Zhenzhen?" The middle-aged man looked at Bai Zhenzhen, with a hint of admiration, saying, "You dare to go against President Wang of the Oasis Group, such a wealthy and high-ranking person. You guys are really bold." Bai Zhenzhen knew that the other party was the outsourced personnel hired by Deng Bingding, and said, "You are a doctor, right? Help me heal first." While receiving treatment, Bai Zhenzhen asked, "Yu Shendeng said that you brought the Dharma bones?" The bearded man pointed to the large package beside him and said, "Yes, the Flood Dragon Spirit Hub from Dragon Soul Workshop. With my skills, it will take about 15 minutes to install. Do you want me to help you install it as well?" Bai Zhenzhen said, "What would I install it for? It will be more effective if it's installed on Xiong Yu, right?" The bearded man said, "Xiong Yu probably won't have time to install it. Wang Yin has already left the Oasis building. He's coming." Bai Zhenzhen's expression changed upon hearing this, looking at the Flood Dragon Spirit Hub and saying, "Can I use this?" The bearded man said, "It's best used by someone in the foundation establishment stage. If you're in the key refining stage, it's okay to use it for a short time. But the entire spine needs to be replaced. The equipment here is limited, and you need to join the battle quickly. So the process will be a bit painful." Bai Zhenzhen gritted her teeth, and said, "Come on. Help me install it." Bai Zhenzhen knew that if she didn't install the Flood Dragon Spirit Hub, she wouldn't be qualified to participate in the upcoming battle. On the battlefield, Kai He, who had escaped death, quickly ran below Wang Yin, a look of relief after surviving a disaster on his face. President Wang. Wang Yin ignored him, only looking at him indifferently, coldly saying a bunch of useless things. "I spent so much money on you, and in the end, I still need to do it myself. Do you know how precious my time is? After we return, your salary for the next year will be deducted." Kai He lowered his head, letting Wang Yin scold him, not daring to show the slightest dissatisfaction. Wang Yin then looked at Xiong Yu, saying indifferently, "Xiong Yu, if you were just taking Bai Zhenzhen to escape, I could treat it as you being untamed and not yet overcoming the inferiority of the poor, and continue to spend some time taming you. But you too." An icy killing intent surged out from Wang Yin's body, "You to have done something that can absolutely not be forgiven. Colluding with foreign enemies, selling out company interests. Why can't we sell?" Xiong Yu sneered, retorting, "Tit for tat, if someone buys, we sell. Business is business. Isn't that the rule of kung fu?" Wang Yun snorted coldly upon hearing the other party use his own teachings to refute him. "You are worthy to talk to me about the rules of kung fu. Clarify your own identity." You are just a dog I raised. Before Wang Yin finished speaking, his semi-automatic spellcasting without talismans had already activated. Streams of divine light and auspicious energy descended from the sky, pouring into his body. But in the next moment, the divine power network vibrated violently, and Wang Yin felt his connection to the network severed. The semi-automatic talisman he was using also stopped working. The 8 layers divine light originally behind his head flickered a few times, like a neon sign with a bad connection, before slowly dissipating. The giant dragon, originally formed by strong winds and prostrate at his feet, also twisted for a moment before transforming back into gusts of wind that scattered in all directions, causing sand and stones to fly everywhere. Having lost the support of the wind dragon, Wang Yin, who had been standing suspended in the sky, suddenly plummeted, falling towards the ground like a meteor. Feeling the strong wind rushing towards him, and the ground constantly expanding in his vision, Wang Yin's face showed no sign of panic. He simply crossed his arms and allowed himself to accelerate his descent. At the same time, he thought to himself, has the opposing true god temporarily sealed off the network here? But Wang Yin knew that this ban couldn't last long. His side's true god must already be working hard to restore the divine power network, and it wouldn't be long before his semi-automatic talisman could work again. Moreover, so what if I don't use talismans and have no divine power support? Looking at Zhang Yu rushing towards his falling trajectory, Wang Yun sneered, do you think you can fight me just because I don't have talismans? With a loud bang, Zhang Yu leapt up, his formless cloud gang surging throughout his body. Accompanied by the roar of a dragon and an elephant, he struck out a palm towards Wang Yin. Terrifying power seemed to be sucking the air dry around them at this moment. The violent wind blew in all directions, stirring up large clouds of dust. Facing Zhang Yu's attack, Wang Yin did not dodge or evade. He formed a fist seal in midair, slightly bent his elbow, and then unleashed a powerful punch, meeting Zhang Yu's palm head-on. Logically speaking, Wang Yin was falling from the air with no leverage point, while Zhang Yu had been charging and building momentum for a long time, clearly having the geographical advantage. But as the fist and palm collided with a loud bang, waves of energy exploded from their point of impact. Zhang Yu only felt his bones rattling as if being repeatedly crushed by shockwaves. His entire body paused for a moment in the air, and then with a crash, he fell back to the ground, creating a large crater. However, Zhang Yu was not surprised by this. He didn't expect to defeat the opponent in one go. This attack, taking advantage of Wang Yin's unstable footing, was just to test the opponent's strength. The moment he landed, Zhang Yu had already assessed Wang Yin's data physical strength is above mine, but the level of magical power output isn't much higher. Meanwhile, Wang Yin on the other side had also landed steadily on the ground. He crossed his arms and looked at Zhang Yu calmly, saying, your magical power has increased quite a bit, but your physical strength hasn't improved much. It seems when you built your foundation, you probably used a heavenly spiritual route like the Qi Si, right? And now, are you thinking that after I crippled my cultivation, the magical power I retained isn't much higher than yours, and only my physical strength is a bit stronger? You think you have a chance against me? Zhang Yu snorted, you talk too much. At the same time, Zhang Yu's Qi Si spiritual root operated at full capacity, frantically absorbing spiritual energy from within a 100-meter radius, constantly replenishing his depleted magical power. With a loud bang, the formless cloud gang within him erupted again. The large crater beneath him sank further, and cracked in layers, from the impact of the gang ki. And waves of white energy, formed by the formless cloud gang, surged out from Zhang Yu's body, enveloping the entire battlefield. Letting the thick fog blow over his body, Wang Yin continued, I gave you a chance and exchanged a move with you just to see how much you're worth now, whether you're suitable for chilling or freezing later. As for the real battle. In the thick fog, Zhang Yu's figure suddenly appeared. His palm, accompanied by the sound of a dragon, an elephant roaring, slammed fiercely towards Wang Yin's back. But facing Zhang Yu's attack, Wang Yin remained motionless, only a series of blood shadows appearing around him. Each of these blood shadows had a distorted face, wailing and crying, as they blocked Zhang Yu's palm. And for every inch Zhang Yu's palm advanced, more than a dozen blood shadows were instantly shattered. The exploding blood light also turned into clusters of resistance, like thousands of layers of flesh blocking his path. The further Zhang Yu's palm advanced, and the more it compressed the blood light, the more terrifying resistance he felt. Eventually, after advancing 5 inches, the power of this palm was completely exhausted by the dense blood light. Wang Yin's voice then came from behind the blood light, saying, "You don't even have the right to touch me." Zhang Yu didn't speak, but his other palm brought forth explosive wind and continued to fiercely strike towards Wang Yin, but it was also blocked by the blood light. Wang Yin said faintly, "This magic treasure of mine is called the Nether Blood Shadow Hood. It can refine living souls and turn them into blood shadows to protect the body. Each blood shadow can block an attack from a P-key, refining, stage, cultivator. And I bought tens of thousands of mortal souls on the first floor, refine them, and infuse them into this Nether Blood Shadow Hood. How long do you think you'll have to fight to break through? You motherfucker." Hearing what Wang Yin said, Zhang Yu's eyes narrowed, and he said, "This guy. Is he advertising?" In Zhang Yu's opinion, having the leisure to introduce his magic treasure during a battle, and doing it so clearly, was clearly advertising the item. Zhang Yu thought, is he trying to sell this Nether Blood Shadow Hood to people on the first floor? But Wang Yin ignored Zhang Yu, and continued speaking to the hidden camera on his body. Tens of thousands of living souls are quite valuable on the second floor, requiring a lot of work to buy. But buying tens of thousands of living souls on the first floor is at least 10 times cheaper. But this is not the cheapest price. Next time, I will take everyone to see a place on the first floor with stronger purchasing power, and where living souls are the least valuable. And listening to Wang Yin's words, Zhang Yu instantly understood. Wang Yin isn't filming a magic treasure advertisement, he's filming a video about the purchasing power on the first floor, promoting how cheap the living souls and human flesh on the first floor are to those above. Thinking of this, Zhang Yu felt an unspeakable anger in his heart. The white crippled ox in his mind let out roars, and the crippled ox self-sacrifice heart, art, circulated more intensely. Even his muscles and magical power trembled slightly, becoming more active. Meanwhile, Wang Yin on the other side said calmly, "All right, this battle should end now." In the next moment, a terrifying aura surged out from him. No, not aura. Feeling the subtle change in the opponent, Zhang Yu's face changed slightly as this fist intent. Having practiced the heavenly martial forging hard art, Zhang Yu knew that fist intent, like sword intent and saber intent, was a type of martial arts will. It was usually cultivated through martial arts heart methods and possessed various wonderful uses. For example, the martial arts will cultivated through the heavenly martial forging hard art could allow Zhang Yu to enter a state of full concentration, accelerating his reactions. Under the shroud of Wang Yin's fist intent, Zhang Yu only felt that the spiritual energy throughout the battlefield began to become chaotic. Especially as Wang Yin slowly formed a fist seal, as if to gather all the spiritual energy, within a few hundred meters into his palm. Zhang Yu felt the spiritual energy in the world suddenly become several times thinner, making it difficult for his key C spiritual route to absorb. Fist intent can do this. Zhang Yu had never seen such overbearing fist intent that could directly interfere with the circulation of spiritual energy. What Zhang Yu didn't know was that the martial arts Wang Yin was currently using consisted of 2 styles of fist technique called world toppling, mighty fist, and a heart method called Emperor's Royal Heart. These 2 martial arts were originally created by an ancient emperor. By using the heart of an emperor to control the overbearing fist technique, the 2 combined could unleash supreme fist intent. But in today's world, there are no longer emperors, so where would an emperor's royal heart come from? These 2 martial arts gradually declined, and were neglected. It wasn't until decades ago that a descendant of this emperor improved the techniques, using immense wealth to overturn a city, and dominate the common people, ultimately forging an extreme fist intent. What Wang Yin was displaying at this moment was one of its moves, the heaven-swallowing stance. Once this stance was unleashed, the extreme fist intent encompassed the battlefield within a few hundred meters. It could not only deter the opponent, but also monopolize up to 99% of the spiritual energy, preventing the opponent from recovering magical power. Although Wang Yin couldn't monopolize 99% of the spiritual energy within a few hundred meters, he did monopolize 70%, making Zhang Yu instantly feel the spiritual energy thinning, and his magical power recovery speed plummeting. After the heaven-swallowing stance, Wang Yin clenched his fist seal and punched towards Zhang Yu through the air. World-toppling mighty fist spiritual surge stance. As Wang Yin's fist intent surged, the 70% monopolized spiritual energy underwent a sudden change, rapidly concentrating towards the area covered by his fist. After the spiritual energy highly concentrated and expanded, a loud bang was heard. Without any warning, Zhang Yu felt as if an air bomb had exploded in front of him, and his head buzzed. Seeing Wang Yin's second punch about to continue, Zhang Yu forced himself to gather strength, twisted his body, and with the formless cloud gang surging around him, he leapt several meters away. Boom! The spot where he had just stood exploded again, creating a large crater on the spot. Then, a series of explosions rang out one after another. Each punch Wang Yin threw was like artillery fire. The area locked by his fist in 10 would explode with waves of energy. As his continuous barrage of punches exploded, it was as if a giant beast was rolling back and forth in the thick fog, scattering more than half of the white formless cloud gang in the blink of an eye. This was partly because Wang Yin's spiritual surge stance was incredibly powerful and overbearing, shattering the sky full of formless cloud gang. On the other hand, Zhang Yu no longer maintained a large-scale gang ki, but chose to concentrate it to resist Wang Yin's fist attacks. Bang! Feeling the oncoming explosion, Zhang Yu crossed his arms. With the formless cloud gang surging, and various body-protecting techniques circulating within him, his body shook, and he took the punch head-on in the explosion. I told you, Wang Yin punched out one after another, and the spiritual energy explosions blasted Zhang Yu away repeatedly. You don't even have the right to get close to me,